It's not who we are, it's what we do that defines us. Let's begin with reflection. Let's start with the rules. There are 3 rules which are supposed to cover and which plays a major role in learning this chapter called as reflection. Without learning these 3 rules, it's impossible for us to master the graph. And as the name says, this chapter involves a graph question which is important for a 5 marker, usually 4 to 5 marker, okay? So the graph thing will be done in the next video. The basics and the simpler questions will be covered in this specific video. But most importantly, the first 5 minutes is very important. Rules. 3 rules to remember. First rule, let's assume a point P, x, comma, y. Obviously, okay, fine. I think more than that. P, a, comma, b, where a is the x coordinate and y is and b is the y coordinate. Let's say I reflect this specific point P, a, comma, b with the x-axis. So how do we represent that in specific terms? We write m subscript x. M is always used for reflection. X is always for whatever axis. So mx meaning reflection with x-axis. So the hint goes like this. Whatever letter is printed here. So here it's the x-axis. So remember the rule. If it is x-axis, the x-coordinate remains unchanged. Which means what changes? The y-coordinate changes. Okay, so x-axis meaning x coordinate remains unchanged, y coordinate changes. So how do you write? So this is nothing but your object. After you reflect the object, you'll be getting an image. So the image is always represented with the axis. So you write P subscript x. Why? Because that's the answer we're getting after reflecting through x-axis. So what's the answer? What remains the same? X coordinate, which means A remains the same, B changes, plus P becomes minus P. That's how it is. So if you can master the first rule, getting the second and the third rule right is very simple. So we'll go to the second rule, which says, let's say point same a comma b I take, but this time I reflect it through y-axis. Reflection through y-axis is represented by my. Common sense. Letter y is being used here. So y coordinate remains unchanged, which means x only changes. So the image has to always be represented with a different denotation, different letter. So it becomes py. I open the bracket. The answer becomes, since b is same, the answer becomes minus a comma b. This is the third rule. The third rule is the most easiest one because this time we'll be reflecting it through the origin. I hope you guys know the meaning of origin. X-axis, y-axis, the point where both the things meet. That's the only point where both of them meet. Okay. So that point will be called as the origin. I'll name it as, I'll take the same point. We'll be reflecting that through the origin. So it becomes MO. Okay. Now what happens? Naming becomes PO, open bracket. Whatever sign, both the coordinates will change. Now, what's the hint for that? Is there the letter O in any of the coordinates? Obviously, no. It has to be either X or Y. Okay. So, change both of them. So, the plus A becomes minus A, put a comma. The plus B becomes minus B. These 3 rules, if you're able to master, you'll be able to get full in this specific chapter called as reflection. It is a scoring chapter. So, please don't skip. So, let's go to the first question. I've taken few examples. I've taken 2 set of examples, in fact. And you'll see that if you see the left hand side here, the object side, all of them are the same. But you'll see the image will keep on differing based on the placement of the mirror. Mirror meaning reflection. Okay, just imagine all these 3 things are mirrors. See guys, you are there. And if I place the mirror to your right, there's a different image. If I place the mirror to your left, there's a different image. I'm talking about the position. But throughout this process, you guys remain at the same place. So remember this, the point might be the same, but depending on the placement of the mirror, the image has to change. It should not be the same. Let's try this. So the first question says A 3, 4, where obviously 3 is the x coordinate and y coordinate is 4. Mx meaning reflection along x-axis. What's the hint? If it's x-axis, the x coordinate remains the same, but the naming has to change. So it becomes AX. Okay, that's the image's name. 3 remains as it is. The plus 4 becomes minus 4. This is my first answer. Simple. Now next, the answer will be AY. And now the y coordinate remains as it is. So it becomes 4 as it is. The plus 3 becomes minus 3. MO, reflection through the origin. It becomes AO. It becomes minus 3, minus 4. Please look at the images. All the 3 are represented by 3 different letters because all the 3 are not the same points. Fine. Placement of the mirror changed. The image also changed. We'll take the same set of examples. Do one thing. You guys solve this set of examples and comment the answers. And also comment if all the 3 answers are same or different. Fine. Next. This is an important type of question. which is not useful directly in your graph. Guys, I'm telling you, this chapter is only out and out graph, graph and graph. Next video, okay? Stay tuned for that. Next, find the image of the points. They've given me 1 point, but we are trying to reflect this specific point under many different conditions. There are 6 in fact. Let's go step by step. The first question says mx, my. So what's the meaning of mx, my? Reflection through x and reflection through y. Now obviously you'll ask me, where do we place the point? Always understand, you place the point on your right side, which means after the second letter has been used. That's important. So in this case, the placement of the point was given to me. The point was given to me. It is 4, minus 6. So I'll put 4, minus 6. My question is not complete. Why? Because this does not give me a proper meaning. How do you get a question a proper meaning? How do you add, meaning to this specific question? It's by drawing brackets. So I'll use square brackets right now. Now can you see the whole question's meaning changes? Now, if you solve inside the bracket, first of all, can you solve inside the bracket? Obviously, because it says my, meaning reflection along y-axis of some random point. Ignore mx completely. We'll talk about mx a little later. Now, if I solve the answer for inside the bracket, my, meaning the y coordinate remains same. What changes? The x coordinate changes. The plus 4 becomes minus 4. I solved the inside of the bracket. Outside the bracket, mx remains as it is. Now, don't you think this became a whole new different question? Now, can you solve this? Mx minus 4 minus 6. It's x-axis, meaning x coordinate remains the same and the y coordinate changes to the plus. So it becomes minus 4 plus 6. This is how you guys solve these specific questions. I'll solve 2 more. The remaining 3 you guys will be solving and putting up the answer in the comments. Okay. Let me solve the 6th one. It says my and mo. The point is the same. So what do? You will always place the point on your right side, which means it becomes 4, minus 6 here. Is the question getting some random meaning? Not yet. How do we get it? How do we get the meaning for it? We'll have to add brackets. I'll add brackets. Now it makes more sense. I'll first focus on solving the inside of the bracket, which says mo 4, minus 6. Okay. Now, origin, both of them change. So the plus 4 becomes minus 4. The minus 6 becomes plus 6. Done. But what remained unchanged? The letter outside, which is my. I'll write my here. Done. Okay. Now, my, I'm supposed to reflect this specific point through the y-axis. So y-axis, what remains the same? The y coordinate remains the same and the x coordinate changes to plus 4. Therefore, the answer is 4, 6. This is how things work. Okay. It's simple, but you'll have to go step by step. So I'm done with the first one. I'm done with the 6th one. Let me try the 5th one, MOMX. Okay. MOMX, I write. Place the point on your right side. So it is 4, minus 6. 4, minus 6. Got it? I'll give it some meaning. Now solve inside the bracket. It says MX, meaning the x coordinate remains the same. What changes? Y changes goes from minus 6 to plus 6. Are we done with the question? Not yet. MO is remaining. So, can you do this? Obviously, MO meaning 4, 6, the reflection is going to happen through the origin. Both changes becomes minus 4, minus 6. This is your final answer. And be careful that your final answer will not have any M or any letter along with this. I've solved 1, 3 and 1, 2 and, I've solved 1, 5 and 6. The second one, the third one and the fourth one, you guys have to solve it and put up the answers in the comments. Now, is this the end of the chapter? Not yet. The graph has to be taught, which will be done in the next video. So obviously stay tuned. If you want to get notified with the video,
please, I kindly request
subscribe.